Good morning friends, the world needs your help. In the description of this video we will leave the PayPal link to help those most in need. Giving them food, education, health, etc. Donate your cigarette. The world needs your help. Hello, our goal is for you to become aware of the problem of tobacco in the world and gifts to help the most needy in the world. Donate the cigarette you smoke and you will realize that you help the whole world with your grain of sand. To help you will help other people in the entire planet. In this presentation we will explain the problem of global smoking, pollution, health diseases. In the description of this video we will leave a link in which you can make your donations. Poverty. According to UNDP, income losses are expected to exceed $220 billion in developing countries, and it is estimated that 55% of the world's population does not have access to social protection. These losses will reverberate in all societies and affect education, human rights, and, in the most serious cases, basic food security and nutrition. To help the most vulnerable population we need your help. More than 700 million people, or 10% of the world's population, still live in extreme poverty today, with difficulties in meeting the most basic needs, such as health, education, and access to water and sanitation. To name a few. New research published by the United Nations University's World Institute for Development Economics Research warns that the economic consequences of the global pandemic could increase poverty around the world, affecting an additional 500 million people. Or what is the same, to 8% more than the total world population. According to estimates from new studies, climate change will drive between 68 million and 135 million people into poverty by 2030. History shows that acting quickly and collectively can help address this crisis. Some 783 million people live below the international poverty line, on $1.90 a day. 1 in 4 children under the age of 5, worldwide, is of inadequate height for their age. In 2016, only 45% of the world's population was effectively covered by a social protection system with at least one cash benefit. In 2017, economic losses due to disasters, including 3 major hurricanes in the United States and the Caribbean, were estimated at more than $300 billion. Tobacco or cigarette in the world. In the world there are more than 1.14 billion active smokers, which shows a new record compared to the less than 1 billion in 1990, shows the study of the global burden of disease, GBD, published this week in the journal The Lancet 28 May 2021 BBC News. Data and numbers. Tobacco kills up to half of the people who use it. Each year, more than 8 million people die from tobacco. More than 7 million of these deaths are due to direct tobacco use, and about 1.2 million are the result of non-smokers being exposed to second-hand smoke. More than 80% of the 1.3 billion tobacco users in the world live in low- and middle-income countries. World Health Organization, WHO, July 27, 2021. Countries. China is the country with the largest smoking population in the world, almost a third of all tobacco users on the planet. Latin America is the region with the greatest reduction in smoking in recent decades, with Brazil, Colombia, and Costa Rica as the countries that have made the most progress. El Salvador, on the other hand, was the only country in the region where tobacco consumption increased. If nothing is done, the annual figure of 7.69 million deaths and 200 million years of life lost due to diseases attributable to smoking will increase in the coming decades, the study notes. And it is that, although many countries have launched successful campaigns and strengthened their regulations to eliminate smoking, not all have fully applied them. How much smokers are spending in the world? Worldwide, 7.41 trillion cigarettes were consumed in 2019. That equates to an average daily consumption of $20.3 billion. How much each pack of cigarettes costs? Daily cigarettes $20.3 billion. Asia of 1.15 billion cigarette boxes. It has a cost of $5 on average. Is equal to $5.075 billion, or euros 4.284,508,160 daily expense. You can imagine, if we collect the help of a percentage of this money that is spent in the world every day. The donor would be benefited. The most vulnerable people. And nature and the whole planet. How many people could we help if you donated a percentage or the cost of a pack per day? In the description of this video we will leave the PayPal link so you can leave your grain of sand. Other costs. Smoking has a cost both in social and economic terms for families and for the state. In the latter sense, the cost for the public finances becomes relevant. They generate direct costs in the health system in any country in the world. In addition to its high social cost, as it is a preventable disease related to different types of cancer and other conditions, such as ischemic heart disease, cerebral vascular diseases, chronic bronchitis, pulmonary emphysema and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, to mention only the main. In addition, the Swiss economy loses around billions annually due to disease and premature death of the workforce as a result of smoking. Environmental impact. Cigarette butts represent between 30 and 40% of the waste collected in urban and coastal cleaning activities. Cigarette smoke contains up to 7,000 chemicals that are harmful to health and the environment. Cigarette smoke contains up to 7,000 chemicals that are harmful to health and the environment. Cigarette butts are made from a petroleum derivative called cellulose acetate, a non-biodegradable material that can take about 25 years to decompose. To make 300 cigarettes, it is necessary to cut down 8 trees, not counting the trees used in the manufacture of cigarette paper and packs, the construction of the barns in which they are stored, and the firewood used to cure the tobacco leaves so that they acquire their characteristic aroma. Throwing out a cigarette butt can contaminate up to 50 liters of drinking water. Tobacco consumers produce 225 million tons each year. This is approximately equivalent to the emissions produced by 12,000 cars that travel 10,000 kilometers. Forest fires tend to occur in large proportion to the most extinguished cigarette butts. Environmental damage. What impact is generated on the environment from growing tobacco until the cigarette butt is discarded? The negative impact of smoking begins before its cultivation. Each year 7.5 million metric tons of tobacco leaf are planted. This planting constitutes 4.3 million hectares in 124 countries. This process implies deforestation, implying a loss of 1,500 million hectares of forest and an increase of 205 in greenhouse gases. 40 million gallons are used per year to maintain crops. Use of pesticides, fertilizers, leaving the soil weakened and preventing it from being used for other crops. When the leaves stop curing, they consume 11.4 million metric tons of wood. To form each cigarette, metric tons of carbon dioxide are generated in exorbitant amounts. Cigarette factories cause 10 million tons of waste. The cigarette problem is not only public health, it is related to significant environmental damage. Do not forget to leave your donation in the description of this video. I will leave the PayPal link to leave your help to the most vulnerable people.